Okay, so this is Rein Vaska from Vaska Films, and today we are going to be taking a look at some color grading, and this time I'm going to be using Adobe Premiere, which is, kind of the same thing, just that you use it to put together your edited clips. So, this clip here is from Invasion, and as you can tell, it's not been color graded, and it is just, doesn't have any effects either, which, yeah, I'm working on editing this part. Invasion's probably out by now while you're watching this, but if you haven't seen it, you should watch it because, well, it's not out yet, but it'll be really good when it is out. So the thing about color grading that's important is that there's no real one way to do it because it really depends on how, what you're going for. So in Invasion, if you probably noticed from the sneak peek, if you've not seen that, it is very, well, it's kind of a desaturated, contrasty kind of look, so that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do today, but you probably aren't going to use that for all your films. Sometimes I might go over some how to make it look a little bit scary, but personally I'm not the best at that, so it might not look very great. But, well, yeah. So the first thing you're going to want to do is hit this effects thing. And by the way, to get this widescreen angle, which I use for all my films, just make a sequence that is 1920 by 800, and that gives it that nice cinematic that you see in the movies and stuff. Anyway, I think it looks pretty good. So, as I said, you select your clip, go into effects, and the first thing I do is tint. Now, you can kind of do the same thing in After Effects because it kind of has the same thing. So, the first thing the tint does is makes everything black and white. But the reason I do this is because then you can easily control the saturation. You could probably also use hue and saturation if this has it. Okay, this doesn't have it. But anyway, you could probably find other ways to do this, but this is how I do it. And, hey, kitties. So, for this clip, for this, something around 25 might do good. So then you can click on this little effects thing to turn it off. And see, it doesn't do a whole lot. So, well, actually, yeah, it's starting to look too black and white. So you don't want it to look too black. That looks a little weird. So, yeah. Okay. The one other reason I did this is because this pan's a little bit odd how they're so orange. So, now that we've got that, that's how you do the kind of darkening. And also, if you want, you can just make it completely black and white if you want to do that. That's another way. Anyway, the other thing that you should add, or how I do it, is curves. Now, curves is, on Premiere, I kind of like it better because they show you each color individually. In After Effects, they're all kind of jumbled up around here. But, so if you haven't used curves before, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, going up is lightening things. And so this lightens the light parts of it. What the heck? Okay, sorry, this is being really slow. This lightens up the light parts of it. And this lightens up the dark parts of it. And this just kind of lightens up the middle sections. And I do not know why this is being so slow. But, that's odd. I'm just going to delete this for a second and add it again. So, same works with the red. If you think it's the highlights are too red, that's turning the red up, and that's turning red down. And honestly, I don't know why it's doing this so slowly, but what we were doing is having a little bit, a little bit of that. We're also getting the darks a little bit more blue. That's a little too much. Anyway, you could spend a lot of time to do this, but basically, for the contrast, you could try to lighten up the lights, but that kind of makes everything seem a little bit bright. Anyway, if you turn down the darks, yeah, you see, then you get contrast. Like, this is obviously, for this film, this is way too much right now. But if you were going for a kind of like apocalyptic film, then this might even be, I mean, you probably wouldn't do it so much, but like, oh my god, this is really slow. But something like that looks kind of nice. And then to even more contrast, you can lighten up the lights. But let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna darken the mids a little bit. And of course, there's a ton more stuff you can do for this. But I mean, you can turn off everything and see what you started with, and then turn stuff back on and see what you got out with. So this is pretty nice. I think in the actual film it's probably not going to be this contrasty, because that's not really entirely how we're going for, but so this is kind of the idea of it. And sorry if you can't hear my voice from that humming from this computer. It's kind of bad, slow computer. Anyway, but that is how you get kind of that contrasty look. But I just decided that I'm gonna make how to do something else, because it's kind of quick. Well, not really necessarily, but anyway, let's do like a happy, like not a, like just like kind of happy. So what you probably want to do is give it a lot of saturation, and I don't actually know what you use to get saturation on here. So overall saturation sounds good. Honestly, I don't really. No, whatever. I don't use Premiere enough, but okay, it did saturate this. Okay. Well, anyway, it did saturate it. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, I might duplicate this. Never mind. Okay, so that looks, saturated and kind of happy. This isn't the best clip to show this for, but anyway. Then so like, kind of experiment by giving it a lot of color. So like making the lights reddish. Let me see. Is this working? Oh, I'm not sure if that's working. And then make the darks like blue or something, and then make the mids kind of green. I don't know, it just gives it like, it's not working out great, but anyway, there's probably a lot of way better tutorials than this. But basically, this is just to get an idea that there's a lot of things that you can do to, make it look different. So like, yeah. So basically that's it. If you want a more detailed tutorial on how to do specific things, then you could put that in the comments or something. But yeah, I guess that's gonna be all for today, because yeah, I need to work on this a little more. But basically, there's no real one way, so there might be tutorials that tell you how to color grade, but yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. So it's kind of for this film this way, but I don't know. But